Your brother Billy, whatever happened there?
Whatever happened there?
Welcome to Culture Screen, where we analyze culture. In this episode, we are summarizing the 12th episode from Season 6 of the Sopranos series titled Kaisha. The episode first aired on June 4th, 2006. In the beginning, we see Silvio and Carlo are fast at work disposing of Fat Dom. Fat Dom has been broken up into bits, and Carlo kicks parts of Dom down a sewage drain up in Connecticut. Silvio shares that the other body parts have been disposed of as well. While Sil is speaking to Carlo, Carlo asks Sil if the barbecue at Sheepshead Bay is still on schedule. Sil replies by saying that he does not know if Tony decided on going through with the barbecue or not. The barbecue is of course a code for destroying one of Phil's businesses. Phil has cost Tony thousands of dollars. As a way of retaliating financially against Phil, Tony decides to strike him by blowing up his wire room where Phil operates his gambling operation. As Phil Leotardo is walking up to Sheepshead Bay with one of his gumas, his business explodes moments before Phil is able to enter. Phil survives but is blown back a few feet along with his guma. We then see Benny Fazio and Tony speaking about the incident, and they laugh when Benny shares that Phil was actually present and was blown back by the explosion. In the following scene, Tony is seen signing the contract where he is selling one of his business properties to Jamba Juice. Juliana Skiff is at the meeting, and when Tony tries to speak about getting back together with her, she declines because of the way Tony stormed out on her the first time they were together. In another scene, Carmela goes to the hospital to visit Adriana's mom, Liz LaServa. Liz survived after trying to take her own life because she had received mail that was intended for her daughter, Adriana. This leads Carmela to speak to Tony about the dream she had in Paris of an officer telling her that Adriana was in fact dead. Tony tries to calm Carmela down by reassuring her that Liz tried taking her life because she simply can't deal with the fact that Adriana could not stand her. But Carmela does not buy it. Carmela continues to express interest in Adriana's sudden disappearance and says that she will be hiring a private investigator to look into what happened to Adriana. As a result of this, Tony quickly prompts Silvio to pressure the building inspector so Carmela can continue working and building her spec house as a way of keeping Carmela distracted. Carmela complains that things just aren't working out for her and that her life is slowly coming apart. Tony reminds her that she raised two beautiful children, has a husband that loves her, and has established a beautiful home, and that all of that should count for something. However, deep down inside, Carmela still feels empty. This scene reminds us of the conversation Carmela had with Dr. Crocker. We see that no matter what projects she starts or vacations she goes on, Carmela cannot shake the feeling that she is leading an empty life, a life produced by the criminal acts of Tony. A few days later, Carmela receives notice that her house is clear to continue building, and she drops all her plans of investigating Adriana's disappearance, proving yet again that she only cares about her financial well-being and that she really is Tony's accomplice, like Dr. Crocker said early on. In another scene, we see Christopher bumps into Juliana Skiff at an AA meeting, and the two are instantly attracted to each other. Christopher then starts seeing Juliana, and she then becomes his new guma. Christopher feels uncomfortable about bringing her around the fellas because she was originally speaking to Tony, and Chris doesn't want Tony to feel like he is disrespecting him. When Juliana and Christopher are together, Chris expresses that he does not want to be with his wife Kelly. Juliana tries convincing Christopher that he should stay with Kelly and that in the end, he will realize that he wants to have a family and children in the long run. Christopher pushes back by saying that Kelly does not know who he truly is, unlike Juliana. But Juliana responds by asking him how he could like a woman who sleeps with a married man. Later on, we see Phil and Tony are having a sit down with Little Carmine as a way of squashing their feud. Everything goes well until Little Carmine brings up Tony Blundetto taking out Billy Leotardo. This throws Phil off, and he erupts out of his seat and walks out of the sit-down, triggered and upset. After the failed meeting, Phil Leotardo sets a plan in motion on how to get back at Tony again. He talks to his underboss Butchie and his consigliere Albert to strategize. As the days go on, their planning is cut short because Phil starts having issues with his heart. He heads to the hospital claiming that he feels chest pains. The following night, he ends up in the hospital after he wakes up Patty panicking that he is having a heart attack.
They just got a job. He's doing better.
Remember, I am summarizing this entire series as well as other popular works of literature, movies, and TV shows as well. Subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss the next episode or series. Let me know what you'd like me to summarize in the comment section below. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Visit our merch store and support us on Patreon if you can. Doing this helps my channel out tremendously. I thank you for your support.
You got a husband that loves you. You made us a beautiful home.
At one point, Tony is telling a story to a group of firefighters when he spots Chris speaking to Juliana. Immediately, Tony realizes that Chris and Juliana are seeing each other, but Chris lies to Tony and says that he is actually seeing a black woman named Kaisha. As they continue seeing each other, Juliana and Chris end up relapsing and using drugs again. They try convincing each other by making up the excuse that they can use again without having it impact their work life. Finally, when Chris confesses to Tony about seeing Juliana, he does not tell Tony that he has also relapsed as well. Chris is mildly relieved because he was able to confess to at least one of his sins. Tony acts as if he is not bothered by this, just like when Councilman Ronald Zellman slept with Irina. When Zellman told Tony him and Irina were seeing each other, Tony acted as if it did not bother him, but it actually devastated him and badly hurt his ego. Tony is hurt in the same exact way with Juliana. Even though Tony acts like he does not care, in the next meeting he has with Dr. Melfi, Tony talks about how originally he did not sleep with Juliana because he wanted to be faithful to Carmela, and now that he knows Christopher is seeing her, he is furious because Juliana denies him what he wants while Chris gets to enjoy her instead. Tony is not really upset because Juliana does not want to be with him, but he is enraged that she chooses to be with Christopher instead. In another scene, we see AJ has started dating Blanca, a Hispanic woman from the construction site. Blanca is 10 years older than AJ, and she has a 3-year-old son named Hector. Blanca sees AJ as an easy way out of poverty. She approaches AJ at a bar and gives him her phone number. The next time we see AJ and Blanca together, they are both back at Blanca's apartment. There are also a group of young men playing loud music outside Blanca's apartment building. Blanca explains that her ex-boyfriend used to go outside and fight them when they would wake up Hector, her son. AJ goes outside and ends up giving away his bicycle that he received as a gift from his parents. The guys accept the bike and they end up moving away from the building. As a way of thanking and quickly attaching herself to AJ, Blanca sleeps with AJ and she immediately casts him under her spell. As we catch back up with Phil Leotardo, we see he has been hospitalized. At first, Tony was celebrating Phil's illness, and we see even Paulie was shocked to see Tony celebrating Phil's hospitalization. Tony ends up going to the hospital to pay his respects to Phil regardless, and we see he has a change of heart. Tony manages to explain to Phil that when he was hospitalized and under a coma, he went to a place he does not want to go back to. He tells Phil that there is enough money to be made for all of them and that they should put all their business stress behind them and move forward together. Tony adds that he should enjoy his family, like he himself is trying to do. Phil begins to tear up. Tony gets up and walks away. This scene shows us that Tony and Phil still have a chance at mending their damaged relationship.
From what they hear, you're not very popular in Brooklyn right now.
That was episode number 77, titled Kaisha. To watch the next or previous episode summary, click on the link in the description or at the end of this video. In the description, you will also find additional links for supporting our channel. See you on the next episode.
I mean, frankly, I shouldn't be here after what happened with Tony.
We upload new videos every week, so subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to hit the like button as well. Click the notification bell to be notified of when we upload these videos. See you on the next episode of Culture Screen.